Story 1. I was more ghosted than explicitly dumped, but his excuse was that he had discovered he was having an allergic reaction to his laundry detergent and was too busy dealing with the situation to text me back. Story 2. I got dumped once because of something I did in a person's dream. I repeatedly reminded them that I didn't do the thing, but they said that it seemed like something I could do. That thing? Eat her lunch at work. We didn't work at the same place. Story 3. She invited me to go out with her and some friends. I told her up front that I was low on money until payday, so if I went, it would just be to hang out. I wouldn't be able to buy anything. At the diner, she orders a shake, and when the bill comes, she asks if I will pay for it. I reminded her I was completely broke and didn't have money in the bank. Another guy friend steps in and offers to pay for her shake and my gas. 2 days later, she dumped me for him. Why? I didn't offer to pay her bill. Story 4. Granted, this was high school. She didn't want a commitment. I started becoming friendly with another girl in school. This enraged the ex because apparently, her telling me she didn't want a commitment meant she didn't want to commit to me but expected me to stay single for her. I ended up marrying the second girl, and we've been together for over 21 years now. Story 5. I got dumped because I allowed my boyfriend to go on a trip with his friends out of state. He told me that it was obvious I didn't care about him because if I did, I wouldn't let him go on a trip where he would probably cheat on me. Still doesn't make sense to me. Story 6. I don't want to be with someone who needs medication to be happy. After trial and error with different medications, I finally found one that regulates my sleep and stops the psychosis episodes. Still not happy, but doing a lot better than when I was with her. Story 7. I invaded her privacy. By that, I mean I found, in a pad of paper that we used for shopping lists and budgeting, an unfinished note addressed to her ex that admits they had sex a few weeks prior. Story 8. My ex thought I was cheating on her while I was in Australia with my friend, who was in England. She said she didn't trust that a man and woman could be friends and therefore didn't trust me. Story 9. We were Mormon adults, around 30 years old. He said he had to break up because he was too attracted to me, and it made him want to do things he's not supposed to. So glad I left that church. Story 10. It's not you. It's my dog. He doesn't like when I date people. Yep, that was the excuse. Apparently, his dog was some sort of highly selective relationship guardian, and I didn't make the cut. Still not sure if it was the dog or him, but honestly, it's a pretty rough way to end things. Story 11. My ex-wife told me now that she is successful at her job, she felt like she did not need me anymore. We were together for 10 years. When I met her, I paid all the bills and fully supported her. I found out she was sleeping with a coworker who is still married to his wife. Story 12. Someone I considered to be my best friend of 6 years told me she needed to see if she would miss me if I weren't there. Needless to say, we aren't friends anymore. Story 13. I don't think I can do long distance anymore. There is way too much going on, and you're not here. When I asked her if there was someone else, she thought for a good 30 seconds and said, there might be. Story 14. This was a long time ago, but something along the lines of them thinking I would not be able to handle myself in the event of a velociraptor attack, or maybe it was zombies, was a real deal breaker. The hypothetical scenario made them realize I was too much of a liability, I guess. Story 15. She said her mom had cancer and she was too focused on that to continue having a relationship. That would be understandable except for the fact her mom didn't have cancer. I found out when I bumped into her mom while shopping and asked if anything was getting better. If you want to break up with someone, then just do it. Don't make up some lie. Story 16. He is just so similar to you, he is like a new version of you, and I am excited I get to do it again. 20 years later, and I am still confused by it. Story 17. I had a guy love bomb me for most of a school term so he could get me as his date to the engineer's ball. What he didn't tell me was that there was some kind of beauty contest where they judged the guy's dates. I skipped the last year of high school and had no fancy ball gown, so I wore a simple long pleated dress. When I wasn't called up on stage, he ditched me then and there in a 600-capacity auditorium. He told me to take a cab home. I hope the jerk is on his third divorce. Story 18. They were too afraid to bring it up themselves. I was sensing something was up for about a month and kept asking, but he said nothing and continued to isolate. We were living together, which made it worse. When I casually brought up ending things, he perked up and immediately said yes, as if he was waiting for me to say it. I am still extremely bitter about the situation. Story 19. During my teenage years, my boyfriend at the time had a friend who constantly harassed me by calling me ugly, saying my boyfriend didn't like me, saying I was gross, and more. I finally snapped and cursed him out for it. My boyfriend dumped me right after for being mean to his friend. Story 20. Apparently he liked to do things and I did not. I mean, I like to do plenty of things, but he did not like me enough to do them with me. Does not make him less of an emotionally abusive person though. I hope he is miserable. Story 21. Defended my girlfriend against someone, and she said I was too violent. I guess I was supposed to let the other guy harass her and inappropriately touch her. Story 22. One of the worst excuses for me was, Mercury is in retrograde, and I just can't commit to anything right now. There's no shortage of odd reasons when someone just doesn't want to be straightforward. Story 23. Not a romantic dump, but a friend of mine texted me that she doesn't want to talk to me because I know her better than she knows herself. We have been best friends for 5 years. Friends for 7. My trust and abandonment issues went crazy and I almost cut contact with all of my friends. Fun times. Story 24. I'm not ready for a relationship after leading me on, getting me attached, and treating it as a relationship from the start. Avoidant attachment styles kill me. Story 25. Because I'm not black enough. I didn't have enough Air Jordans, I have no children with different partners, and I didn't have custom rims on my cars. Oh, and there was no reason why I needed a 2-bedroom apartment. I used the spare room for my music production. Story 26. There was no excuse. She completely ignored me. We had made plans for me to go to her house and meet her parents. When I got there, she ignored me and refused to even acknowledge my presence. Her parents were appalled by her behavior, as was her best friend. Story 27. The guy was convinced I was underage because of the posters I have in my room. Nirvana, Green Day, Kurt Cobain, and so on. This is despite us going to a bar several times and even the shooting range with our own weapons. But no, because of my music taste and room, I'm a teenager. Story 28. She accused me of being obsessed with my former partner, whom I broke up with for mistreating me. She found an old journal from when things were still good with her, then ignored all the unfortunate circumstances that followed. By her logic, if I wasn't obsessed with my former partner, then why did I still have the journal? If I wasn't obsessed with my former partner, then why did I still wear the belt that she bought me? If I wasn't obsessed with my former partner, then why did I still keep those perfectly good, worn-in jeans that she bought me? I'm still embarrassed that I put myself in that position. Story 29. You look like you have been to jail, did drugs, and are a bad person. I met many who were like that. Plus, it seems you do not love animals. That felt personal, I am not going to lie, and I have never been in jail or done hard drugs. Bad person? Maybe, I do not know. Story 30. One guy told me he got dumped for saying he preferred gas cars to electric cars. I still don't know if he was joking with me or not. I can't believe someone would do that, but as one can see, people give even sillier reasons. Story 31. She said we couldn't be together anymore because she has a boyfriend. This is after a few days of dating. She sent nude photos and told me she was in love with me, only to end it because she had a boyfriend at the time. It is safe to say she is now a single mother of 4, all with different fathers. Story 32. Every single let you down easy strategy at the same time. I'm moving soon. Maybe if we met years ago, not the right timing. You check all the boxes, but maybe they've changed. Maybe there's a chance in the future. I don't want to hurt you. We can still be friends. Guess what? 3 months later, and she's still here hooking up with other guys. I wish she could have just given it to me straight. It's a lot easier to recover that way. Story 33. I tried to love you, but I just can't. I only confessed to you because our friend told me to. My friend didn't actually force him to confess to me. It's more like she encouraged him to choose whether to reject me wholeheartedly or accept my feelings for him. He chose the latter and broke up with me after a week. Story 34. dumped me over text on my birthday and said, "It just dawned on me that I don't love you anymore." I asked why tell me that on my birthday. I didn't want to lie to you by pretending I'm in love when I'm not. Spoiler. She was trying to get back with me for a whole year after that. I guess her intrusive thoughts just won on my birthday. Story 35. Dumped once by a guy who asked to be casual from the beginning, then got upset because I didn't text him every day on holiday and he didn't want to be casual anymore. Then I said, "Okay, fair enough, good luck to you," and he continued to contact me for months after. Story 36. I couldn't hang out the upcoming weekend because I had plans, and he stopped communicating with me. The last text was, "If I don't hear from you, I'll show up at your place at noon." I told him I was busy, and we could make plans for next weekend. Story 37. Oh, I have a good one. I dated a lady who had issues with seizures. Anyway, apparently her doctor told her that stress was a factor and she shouldn't be in a relationship right now. I was crushed, but like, okay, if it's for your health, I get it. She was with someone else the next week. I've had some awful exes, and honestly, she was one of the best ones, but oof, that was an awful way to handle things. It didn't help that it was one of my best friends from school either. Story 38. My eye color. Joke's on her. I got her best friend's number at a party she had a few weeks later. I had made friends with her older brother in that time too. He invited me. My ex started to hate me. We're married, own a home, and are going on 22 years strong. She got jealous and tried to split us up a few times. My wife still talks to her but kept her at a distance for a long time. Story 39. After being together for almost 3 years, she brought up our age gap as a reason. Mind you, throughout our relationship, she would consistently tell people, "He's actually the more mature one." She was 37 at the time and 3 months away from turning 38. I had just turned 28 a month and a half before this. Although I've calmed down a lot, and it's starting to kind of disperse from my constant thoughts, I'm still so baffled by this breakup, and it was back in April. Story 40. She had a dream that I cheated on her with a film star. She was super mad at me when she woke up. I tried to console her and be supportive of her feelings, but after a couple of hours of her treating me poorly, I laughed at the ridiculousness of it all and asked her to see that this was not reality. She became very upset, threw things at me, and called me a lot of names. She broke up with me and moved out. She still contacts me once a year to see if I am single. She is married now. Bullet dodged. Story 41. I do not feel like you are the one for me to marry. It was our second date. The beginning of our second date, actually. We were waiting for a concert to start, 45 minutes from home. It was not as much fun as it sounds. Story 42. I wanted to break up with a girl in 6th grade, but didn't know how to do it. She was telling me a joke, and afterward, I said it wasn't funny and that we should break up. She sent a friend 30 minutes later to confirm I was dumping her because of a bad joke. Yes. Story 43. You were so awesome and fun to be with. I'm just not ready for a relationship yet. And then they are in a relationship the next week. It has happened multiple times. Story 44. She reconnected with a guy she wanted to date when they were in high school, who had just moved back home after getting discharged from the military. They got married. Story 45. I just need some time away to think. Absolute small-minded man, cowardly comment. Eventually, it came out he just wanted sex with other people. He was in love with falling in love but couldn't stay there. Story 46. Being with you is causing my anxiety attacks. No, Belle, your anxiety attacks are because you're terrified I'm going to find out about all the things you've been doing behind my back, and your web of lies is about to collapse. You'd rather leave me than have all your family and friends find out what you're really like as well. Story 47. Got dumped because they said, I think you're too good for me, and I don't deserve you. At first, I thought they were just being nice, but looking back, it felt like such a cop-out. Just tell me you're not into it anymore. Don't make it sound like I'm the problem for being a decent person. Story 48. He couldn't give me what I wanted. Marriage, stability, and a future together. He wrote a letter and taped it to my door after disappearing on me for days. He is the one who asked me to marry him. Weak as, Turns out he was involved with his ex whose father died and left her an inheritance. Story 49. The worst excuse is no excuse. When you get ghosted just because they don't have their head together. Every time that's happened, they get back in touch further down the line, and it's never been healthy or productive to reconnect with them. Reddit. If someone has hurt you by breaking off from you without warning, do not re-engage with them when they get back in touch. Regardless of what your feelings for them are, regardless of what they say or do to make you feel that old magic, stay away. Story 50. Me sophomore, him senior. My parents said I couldn't date you because of the age gap. Bro gets with a girl my age not 2 months later. Definitely dodged a bullet. Story 51. Her ex-boyfriend was getting out of jail, and she promised she would be there for him when he got out. We hadn't been dating that long, and I knew she wasn't the one, and I didn't want to deal with an ex-boyfriend who was fresh out of prison or jail. Story 52. I love you. I just can't stand to see your body anymore. Maybe not the worst compared to some, but that messed with my self-confidence in weird ways for a while afterward. Story 53. Dated this cute guy for 6 months who had this cute chocolate Labrador. One day he tells me he doesn't want a girlfriend anymore and that he just wants to be with his dog. He shared custody of the dog with an ex, so he didn't even have the dog daily, which should have been a red flag. It was just a reason to keep her around, I think. I cried until I told my best friend, my best male friend, and he burst out laughing. Then I realized how stupid it all was. So, I am forever known as the girl that was dumped for a dog. Best part. He dumped me, and she put her foot down about the custody thing and told him no more. She's keeping it and he should get over it. So he lost me, the ex, and the dog,